I'm Mike Steele, and we are the Cedarfield Radio Players. Eunice Mary Quedens was a California actress who had a couple of small roles in the new talkies. But what she really wanted to be was a Broadway actress. So in the early 1930s, she got on the train and went to New York, and she managed to get into a couple of Broadway shows and in a few supporting roles. But her big break came when she was featured in the Ziegfeld Follies of 1934. But there was a problem. Eunice Mary Quedens just isn't a Broadway name. Change it. So Eunice looked around her dressing room for inspiration, and she saw her makeup kit. Inside there was a vial of Evening in Paris perfume and lots of Elizabeth Arden cosmetics. Right then and there, Eunice Mary Quedens became Eve Arden. After a stint on Broadway, she returned to Hollywood. It's where the money and the roles were. She was a pretty good actress. She could do drama, she could do comedy, she could sing and dance. But she played opposite Katharine Hepburn in Stage Door, and she was nominated for an Oscar for her role in Mildred Pierce. But she's probably most remembered for her role as Connie Brooks, our Miss Brooks, the English teacher at Madison High School, the show we're going to do for you today. The radio show started in 1946 and lasted for 11 years on the radio. They also did a television show from 1952 to 1956. And they made a movie when the television show ended. I want to introduce our cast, but I'm going to do things a little bit different than normal. There are often running gags that go from show to show. And regular listeners would be clued into it because they've heard them every week. But since it's been 75 years since this show has aired, I figured you might need a little refresher course. Our announcer today is Rosie Whitehorn, playing Laverne Smith, the spokesperson for Colgate Dental Cream and Luster Cream Shampoo, is Sherilyn Heatwald. Connie Brooks, our Miss Brooks, is played by Louise Foster. Connie is direct and professional, but she has a wicked sense of humor. And she has a huge crush on Philip Boynton, the handsome Philip Boynton. Osgood Conklin is the principal of Madison High School. He's gruff, unsympathetic, and a real pain for his faculty and students. He's played by Clyde Roper. Philip Boynton is a biology teacher at the school. He's shy and handsome, but is often clueless to Miss Brooks's affections. Eldon Rucker plays the handsome Philip Boynton. Walter Denton is played by Craig Watt. He's a student at the school and well-intentioned but a little clumsy. He often drives Miss Brooks to school in his broken-down jalopy. Mrs. Davis, Miss Brooks's absent-minded landlady, is known for whipping up exotic, though often inedible, breakfasts. She's played by Christine Watt. Harriet Conklin is another high school student and the daughter of the principal, Osgood Conklin. She's also a cheerleader. She's sweet, honest, and guileless, unlike her father. She's played by Louisa Rucker. Stretch Snodgrass is played by Don Branson. He's a star athlete and Walter's best friend. He's also a little dim-witted. And finally, Mr. Stone is head of the Board of Education. He's a bit of a stuffed shirt. and he's played by John Taylor. Pete Hutchinson and I will do the sound effects. Our director is Elizabeth Scribner. And as always, I want to thank Eddie Lyles and Katrin Hudala for all they do in our behalf. And thanks also to freesfx.com for the electronic sound effects that you'll hear. And finally, I want to remind people that this is radio. The actors will read their lines as convincingly as possible, but you have to use your imagination to make it so. And it's also live, so anything can happen, and it probably will. From 1950, the Board of Education Day episode from Our Miss Brooks.
Colgate Dental Cream to clean your breath while you clean your teeth and help stop tooth decay. And Luster Cream Shampoo for soft, glamorous, caressable hair. Bring you Our Miss Brooks. It's time once again for another comedy episode of Our Miss Brooks, written by Al Lewis. Well, Monday marked the end of spring break, and teachers and pupils are returning to the School of Learning after a few days off. Our Miss Brooks, who teaches English at Madison High School, was discussing her vacation with her landlord at breakfast.
I guess school breaks are necessary sometimes, Connie. But now I suppose you're looking forward to returning to dear old Madison High with considerable enthusiasm.
Yes, indeed, Mrs. Davis, with all the enthusiasm of a sailor returning to his dear old submarine after a vacation on Bali Bali.
Oh, you'll get back into the swing in no time, Connie. Is Walter Denton picking you up this morning?
Yes, he is, and I hope he's on time. Our beloved principal has designated today as Board of Education Day.
Oh? What sort of ceremony is Mr. Conklin planning?
Well, Mr. Stone, the head of the board, will be there for his annual oiling, and Mr. Conklin will have some sort of school on the campus. Some of the students will even march past him carrying the flag.
Well, it can't do any harm, Connie. The board might decide to give you teachers a raise in the coming year.
I hope so. Then maybe next year we'll be strong enough to carry the flag.
Right.
I'll get it. I'll be right there.
I'll take the dishes into the kitchen.
All right, Mrs. Davis, and thanks for breakfast. Good morning, Walter.
It's more than that, Miss Brooks. This is the morning when the glorious gates of learning fling open anew, when the tantalizing aroma of chalk and pencil shavings beckons us all, teachers and pupils alike, to join hands, and amidst the clanging of bells, come gaily skipping back to the black hole of Calcutta.
Why, Walter, I didn't know you had it in you, and I wish you'd put it back. Did you have a nice spring break?
Oh, sure I did, Miss Brooks. That is up to last night. And then it was practically ruined by Mr. Conklin. He ordered me to write an editorial for the Madison Monitor on what the Board of Education means to me.
Did you write it?
Well, sure I did. But you know what a tired old Marblehead can be. Mr. Conklin can be when you cross him. But as a believer in freedom of the press, I really gave that Board of Education both barrels.
Walter, don't you think one barrel might have been enough?
giving us Monday off for spring break and then making us go to school Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday is downright sadistic.
Well, it's better than not having Monday off, isn't it?
Well, sure, but it's not as good as having the rest of the week off, too.
Well, I'm with you there, Walter. It would also be nice if they gave us the whole month of March off. But that isn't the way the board works.
Sometimes I doubt if they work at all. But it's all in this editorial, Miss Brooks. Here, I told Mr. Conklin you'd proofread it and bring it into his office this morning.
Oh, me?
Well, sure. You're faculty advisor to the school paper, aren't you? Don't be nervous about handing it to him, Miss Brooks. Just toss it on his desk.
I can only do that if you'll agree to do something for me.
Oh? What's that, Miss Brooks?
Notify my next of kin. Look, Walter, Mr. Conklin wants to start the year off with a spirit of cooperation. You better destroy this literary Frankenstein.
Oh, I couldn't do that, Miss Brooks. But I'll think it over on the way to school. And maybe amend some of my statements.
Fine. Now I'll just slip on my coat and we'll get going.
Swell. My pal Stretch is waiting out in the car, and he's pretty brought down.
Stretch? Stretch Snodgrass? What's the matter with him?
Oh, you know what a great athlete Stretch is. He can pick up any sport in a second. He can't seem to absorb much in his brain. He's afraid that during the break he forgot everything he learned all term. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. The alphabet.
Go ahead, Stretch. Tell Miss Brooks what's bothering you. She might be able to help you out.
Well, oh, Stretch. I mean everything you do, Miss Brooks. It's incorrect to use a double negative in a sentence. Stretch, you just use 4 of them. Don't Stretch. I'm five, sorry. I'll certainly try, Stretch. What's your immediate problem?
Everything.
Good. As long as you have it localized, I think I can help you.
I mean everything at school, Miss Brooks. You see, I just gotta stay eligible for basketball. But Mr. Boydson says I gotta take a biology test pretty soon. And I forgot so much during our break. I'm afraid I'm just not no good at no biology no more.
Stretch. It's incorrect to use a double negative in a sentence. You just use 4 of them.
Oh, then what I said was okay, huh? Gee, I'm sure glad I didn't forget none of my English, like I forgot about my animals and biology. Gosh, I used to know my animals like I know my
HCs. You're right about the alphabet.
Yeah, I guess you were. Go on, Stretch. Tell Miss Brooks some more about the test.
Well, I think it's going to be mostly about birds and monkeys and stuff like that. There.
What? Where?
I gotta know the names of the different kinds of baboons, which I used to know real good, but I forgot.
Well, don't worry about it, Stretch. If you want me to, I'll meet you after school and review your lessons with you.
Oh, that would be key, Miss Brooks. Gosh, I bet even the baboons know the names of all the other baboons.
Well, don't worry about that till later. If you just concentrate and spend the next couple of years studying, you'll be as smart as any other baboon. Excuse me.
I've summoned you to my office, Miss Brooks, to inform you of the fact that at 1 o'clock, Mr. Stone is due to arrive. So promptly at 12:55, the students and faculty will line up outside between the old cannon and the flagpole.
Yes, sir.
Then I will greet Mr. Stone and read aloud the editorial, which is to appear in the next issue of the Madison Monitor.
Oh, the editorial.
I am not finished, Miss Brooks. The editorial is called What the Board of Education Means to Me, and was written by Walter Denton. Now, as you know, I'm not overly fond of young Denton, but my daughter Harriet pointed out to me he does get off some good editorials.
He gets off some pips. But Mr. Conklin, I'm not sure that...
He said you'd deliver this one to me after proofreading it, Miss Brooks. May I have it, please?
May you have it, please? Mr. Conklin, I don't have it. I don't got it. Neither has Walter. He told me he lost it on his way to school today.
Lost it? That's out of the question. He's just trying to delay.
Mr. Conklin, if you're going to use an editorial as a welcoming speech, you should write it yourself.
Me?
Of course. You're a master of the editorial form. Why, even your inter-class communications are sheer poetry.
They are?
Certainly they are. You just sit right down at your desk, Mr. Conklin, and start creating.
Well, I do have a way with words, I suppose. Yes. Yes, I'll draft a speech this morning and send it to you at lunchtime, Miss Brooks, for proofreading. Not that you'll find any grammatical errors.
Oh, no, of course not.
But correct every one you find. Oh, one more thing before you go. I'd like some exciting conclusion to the ceremony I've planned on the campus. Something that would really, wind it up in a spectacular way. Any suggestions, Miss Brooks?
Well, you say you're lining up between the cannon and the flagpole?
That is correct, Miss Brooks.
Then I think I've got just the idea for you, Mr. Conklin.
Oh, what is it, Miss Brooks?
Let's shoot Walter Denton out of the cannon.
Our Miss Brooks will continue in just a moment. But first, here is Laverne Smith.
Now, proof that brushing teeth right after eating with Colgate dental cream helps stop tooth decay before it starts. Continuous research, hundreds of case histories, makes this the most conclusive proof in all dentifrice research on tooth decay. Eminent dental authorities provided hundreds of college men and women for over 2 years. One group always brushed their teeth with Colgate right after eating. The other followed their usual dental care. The group using Colgate dental cream as directed, using Colgate exclusively, showed a startling reduction in the average number of cavities and far less tooth decay. The other group developed cavities at a much higher rate. No other dentifrice offers proof of these results. Modern research shows that decay is caused by mouth acids, which are at their worst right after eating. Brushing teeth with Colgate, as directed, helps remove acids before they harm enamel. Yes, Colgate has all the necessary ingredients, including an exclusive patented ingredient for effective daily dental care. So remember, always use Colgate dental cream to clean your breath while you clean your teeth and help stop tooth decay.
Well, all during my morning classes, I waited for Mr. Conklin's epic essay, What the Board of Education Means to Me. But when the epic didn't arrive at noon, I decided to expose myself to a luncheon invitation from Mr. Boynton, and I hurried to the biology lab. Just a few doorways from my goal, I was intercepted by Madison's athletic giant and mental midget, Stretch Snodgrass.
Excuse me, Miss Brooks, but could I see you for a minute?
I suppose so, Stretch. What's new?
Mr. Conklin appointed me messenger of the day. That means I'm supposed to deliver messages.
What does he want to see me about?
Mr. Conklin told me to deliver his Board of Education speech to you during the lunch period. That's why I stopped you just now.
Why?
I ain't got it.
I haven't got it.
Oh, I know you ain't got it. I'm supposed to give it to you.
Well, why ain't you got it?
Well, he didn't give it to me yet.
One of us is getting nowhere in my English class. Now, you'll excuse me, Stretch.
Oh, sure, Miss Brooks.
Just leave the speech in Mr. Boynton's lab as soon as Mr. Conklin gives it to you. I've been anticipating this luncheon date for some time.
Okay, Miss Brooks, I'm sorry I held you
Well,
up.
that's all right.
I didn't mean to take so much of your time.
It's all right, Stretch.
I didn't know you were anticipating.
So long, Stretch.
Come in. Well, it's Miss Brooks. I'll be with you in just a minute. I've been trying to correct this biology test paper. It's an essay.
Oh,
I can hardly make out the name of, the writing is so illegible. Let's see, could be Snodgrass.
what's the title of the essay?
A man's best friend is his animals.
Oh, it's Snodgrass, all right.
Listen to this. Lovebirds is very nice pets, and they don't never bother nobody hardly. But it's the same, busy making love. Isn't that terrible?
You can't knock it to me. You mean the grammar? Yes, it's pretty bad.
And here's another paragraph. Baboons is pretty big, and the mandrill is the biggest baboon of all. They make nice pets, and they don't never bother nobody hardly. But it's all the time busy making love.
He ought to change the title to An Animal's Best Friend is His Animals. You can finish that later, Mr. Boynton. Let's go to lunch.
Okay, very well, Miss Brooks. I hope we run into Walter Denton in the cafeteria. These papers must have fallen out of his briefcase this morning. I'd like to return them. Seems to be an editorial from the school paper.
Oh, let me see that. What the Board of Education Means to Me by Walter Denton. I'm glad I discovered this in time. As faculty advisor to the paper, Mr. Conklin would hold me responsible for the most embarrassing incident ever happened in Madison.
Well, what do you mean, Miss Brooks? What in the editorial?
Just a pint or two of Walter's spleen. It's a blast of the board, which I'm going to tear up right now.
Miss Brooks, just a minute. Look what you've done. You've torn up Stretch's essay along with the other one.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Boynton, but what were you planning to do with it? Send it to the Congressional Library? Such deathless prose. Baboons don't never bother nobody hardly, but is all the time making love. What about laughing at? It should happen to both of us.
Miss Brooks? Mr. Boynton? Guess they went to lunch. Well, I'll just leave Mr. Cochran's speech on the desk and...
Hiya, Stretch. Have you heard about the ceremonies we're going to have?
Yeah, Walter. Mr. Stone's coming down and we all gotta line up and greet him.
And boy, is he going to get a greeting. I'm cooking some powder down in the chem labs that I'm going to put in the back of the old cannon. And when Mr. Stone gets here, we'll give him a salute that he'll hear till he's 90.
Gosh, do you think Mr. Conlon will like that?
He doesn't know about it yet. What's this on the desk here? Oh, what the Board of Education means to me. Say, I thought I lost this editorial while I was in here this morning.
What editorial?
This one. Gee, I'm glad I found it. Miss Brooks was right. This could get me in a lot of trouble.
But Walter,
This thing is dynamite. I'm gonna tear it up right now.
but you shouldn't. There's something I gotta tell you.
Wait a minute. Now what is it, Stretch?
That wasn't your editorial you just tore up.
Was it?
No, it was a speech that Mr. Conlon's been sweating out all morning.
Huh?
Yeah, he told me to give it to Miss Brooks. But don't worry, Walter. I'm very good at jigsaw puzzles. I'll just pick the pieces out of the wastebasket and paste them together again.
I gotta help you. Oh, but the chem lab. I've got powder cooking.
You better get back there, Walter. This'll be easy for me to do, honest. You go on back and make some real good explosives. It'll lighten the place up a bit.
Yeah, I guess I'd better Stretch. But whatever you do, get that speech pasted together fast.
Okay, pal. Let's see. There's more papers in this basket than I thought. Well, here's one piece that fits to another. Oh, no, it don't either. Well, it almost fits. Oh, it'll be good enough.
Walter Denton,
Oh, yes, Miss Brooks?
have you seen Stretch anywhere? I've looked all over the grounds for him. Walter, what are you doing with that cannon?
Cannon? Oh, I'm just polishing it, Miss Brooks. Want everything to look spick and span when Mr. Stone gets here.
Well, he better not get here until Stretch shows up with Mr. Conklin's speech. I don't know what he'll do if I don't get all that.
Ah, there you are, Miss Brooks. Have you finished checking my speech?
Not really, Mr. Conklin.
What do you mean, not really?
I haven't begun. That is, I haven't begun to enjoy anything as much as I did that speech of yours. Stretch is carrying it for me.
Excuse me, Miss Brooks, but here's the speech. It's right here in this folder.
Nice timing, Stretch. See, Mr. Conklin, here's your speech.
And not a minute too soon. A minute too soon. I think this is Mr. Stone's car driving up right now. Attention, everyone. Straighten out those lines. That's right. Now, Miss Brooks, you stand on my left, and I'll stay here.
Cannon.
Oh,
Walter.
get a little closer to the cannon, Mr. Conklin. You look stunning together.
Quiet down. Now remember, when Mr. Stone steps out of the car, I'll count 3, and we'll all salute him.
I certainly will.
Ready now? 1, 2.
My God! Walter, what did you put in that cannon?
It was just sort of a giant firecracker, Miss Brooks. Wasn't it keen?
Can you open him up?
Whew, that one just blew me right off my feet.
Of course, Mr. Conklin. Are you all right?
Oh, yes,
There's
yes.
no reason to be embarrassed. That wasn't Mr. Stone's car.
How?
I said it wasn't Mr. Stone's car.
Don't stand there flapping your lips. Say something.
He can't hear a word you're saying. He was standing so close to the cannon, it must have plugged up his ears.
Oh, God, this is terrible, Walter.
What's that? What's that? What did you say?
Walter, we've got to get him to his office. He seems stunned.
Well, all the same, come on, gang. 3 cheers for Mr. Conklin. Yay, Mr. Conklin! Yay, Mr. Conklin! Yay, Mr. Conklin!
What's going on here? Why is everyone so quiet?
Poor Mr. Conklin.
Oh gosh, Miss Brooks, you don't think Daddy's hearing is permanently impaired, do you?
Oh, no, of course not, Harriet. This is just a temporary condition. Shall I say, come in, Mr. Conklin?
Eh? What's that? What?
Come in. Come in.
Hiya, Miss Brooks. How's Mr. Conklin's hearing?
Very bad, Walter.
Good. We're gonna shoot off the cannon again.
Walter, I'm not sure.
That was Denton, wasn't it? Did he have anything to do with that explosion by the cannon?
Oh, I'm sure he didn't, Daddy. I say, I'm sure he didn't, Daddy.
That's right, Mr. Conklin. It just exploded. I say, it just exploded.
It certainly is corroded. I don't understand what happened. That cannon hasn't been touched since the Spanish-American War. It's absolutely useless.
What do you mean useless? We won the war, didn't we?
You're right. It is unusual for Mr. Stone to be so late. He's quite a busy man.
Gosh, Miss Brooks, do you think Daddy's hearing is getting any better at all?
Come in.
He's improving by leaps and bounds. Harriet, please go and tell Walter to stop that racket at once.
Okay, Miss Brooks, but you'll stay with Daddy, won't you?
Certainly, and don't worry about him, Harriet. He's not in any pain.
All right, Miss Brooks. See you later, Daddy.
Miss Brooks, when Mr. Stone does get here, I don't want him to know that there's anything wrong with my hearing or anything else. If he suspected that a cannon had exploded on school property, he'd go back to the board in a tizzy.
I understand, Mr. Conklin, and in view of your condition, I think it might be a good idea if I were to read this speech to him.
In view of my condition, it might be a good idea if you were to read my speech to him.
Quite an echo in here.
Now, remember to read the speech slowly, Miss Brooks. And when I see your lips stop moving, I'll make some appropriate comment from time to time.
Come in. Oh, it's Mr. Stone.
How do you do, Miss Brooks? I'm sorry I'm late, Osgood. It was unavoidable.
Thank you, Mr. Stone, and a Happy New Year to you, too.
I beg your pardon.
Mr. Conklin's a little confused, Mr. Stone. It isn't every day that so distinguished a visitor honors our little institution with a visit.
Well, that's very gracious of you, Miss Brooks.
The speech, Miss Brooks, the speech.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. However, Mr. Conklin has prepared a little speech, which I will read to you now.
You? But why don't you read it yourself, Osgood?
You see, Mr. Stone, he's so choked with emotion, he's speechless. However, I have it right here. Nice paced job. It's entitled, What the Board of Education Means to Me, by Osgood Conklin. It reads, few people realize the magnificent efficiency with which our Board of Education functions. This august body is composed of a group of able members, and these baboons grow to a height of 4 feet.
What?
Every
word of this comes from the bottom of my heart. Read on, Miss Brooks.
I'm not sure if I should go much further.
I insist that you do.
Well, the members of the Board of Education make very nice pets, as they don't never bother nobody, but is all the time making love.
What is the meaning of this?
Right from the bottom of my heart.
Now see here, Conklin. If this is some sort of joke, I don't like it. Not one bit.
Oh, you're too kind, Mr. Stone. Hand me that last page, Miss Brooks.
Mr. Conklin, I think I'd leave it alone if I was you.
Give it here. To sum up, I would like to read what I have written in this last paragraph, to wit, quote, Having observed Mr. Stone's educational methods, I'm convinced that his outstanding talent is his ability to eat bananas while hanging by his tail. Believe me, Mr. Stone, these sentiments are dictated by a eat bananas while hanging by his tail.
The man has obviously taken leave of his senses.
But sir, if you could let me explain a little bit of it, I might.
If and when I return, this matter will be thoroughly investigated. Good day, Miss Brooks.
Miss Brooks, this isn't the speech I wrote.
I know it now, Mr. Conklin, but I didn't.
I hold you responsible for this entire fiasco. And believe me, Miss Brooks, you have no idea how severe your punishment is going to be.
Oh, yes, I have, Mr. Conklin.
Miss Brooks, where are you going?
Out to get some bananas. There's nothing like hanging by your tail from a fag pole to whip up an appetite.
Our Miss Brooks returns in just a moment, but first,
Tonight, yes, tonight, show him how much lovelier your hair can look after a Luster Cream shampoo. Luster Cream, the world's finest shampoo. No other shampoo in the world has the lustrous blend of secret ingredients, plus gentle lanolin. Not a soap, not a liquid. Luster Cream shampoo leaves hair 3 ways lovelier. Fragrantly clean, free of loose dandruff, glistening with sheen, soft, manageable, even in the hardest water. Luster Cream lathers instantly. No special rinse needed after a Luster Cream shampoo. So gentle. Luster Cream is good for even children's hair. Tonight, yes, tonight, try Luster Cream shampoo.
and now here once again is our Miss Brooks.
Well, even after he read a written confession from Walter and Scratch, Mr. Conklin still blamed me for the day's misadventures. Accordingly, he ordered me to write a brand new speech for him that afternoon. I wouldn't have minded so much, but it meant breaking one of my dates with Mr. Boynton. I was complaining about it as we walked the hall after school.
It does sound unfair, Miss Brooks, but after all, Mr. Conklin's the boss. What can you do about it?
Well, I could go to his office and tell him off, I suppose, but that wouldn't do any good either. He can't hear a word. Wait a minute. Maybe these are ideal conditions. A chance for me to say all the things I've wanted to say to Mr. Conklin right to his face.
Wait. Well, do you think that's wise, Miss Brooks?
I don't know how wise it is, but it certainly would do my heart good.
Excuse me, Miss Brooks. I've got to take this aspirin into Daddy.
Don't let me take it, Harriet. It's something I'd like to say to him.
He's still pretty upset, Miss Brooks. Maybe I'd better see him alone first.
All right, Harriet.
Here's your aspirin, Daddy, and a glass of water. See? Water. Drink.
Stop gibbering, girl. I can hear you distinctly.
You can?
Yes. It happened just a moment ago. My head cleared and my hearing is perfectly normal.
How wonderful. Oh, Daddy, Miss Brooks is waiting to see you. May I send her in now? Would you like to see her? Daddy, we'll see you now, Miss Brooks.
Goody.
See you tomorrow.
All right, Harriet.
Well, Miss Brooks?
I just wanted to talk to you about my having to stay this afternoon. You inconsiderate, maladjusted, subhuman tyrant.
What?
I've got some things to tell you that I've been saving up for years, and it's going to be a great pleasure to coo them into your dainty, plugged-up ears.
Huh? How did that go again?
Of all the puffed-up, overstuffed, pompous windbags I've ever met, you take the marble cake, marble head.
Huh?
Rather than try to talk some sense into that mule-brained little head of yours, I'll do the work this afternoon. Does that make you happy, you beady-eyed, beetle-browed old buther?
Yes, Miss Brooks. That makes me very happy.
Oh my God, he can hear! For a moment.
Here you go. Yes.
You can hear!
Yes.
You can hear!
Yes. From the moment you entered this office, you'll be pleased to know that this overstuffed windbag has absorbed your every word. You realize, of course, Miss Brooks, that any chastisement you have suffered in the past is mere child's play when compared with what's in store for you now.
Oh, how?
I will not only see to it that our local Board of Education receives a...
Must be contagious. I can't seem to hear a word you're saying. It was over 3 hours ago that that cannon went off, and here I am, suddenly taken stone deaf. Well, I guess there's no sense in worrying about it. I'll just relax and enjoy the evening.
Next week brings you another episode of Our Miss Brooks, brought to you by Luster Cream Shampoo for soft, manageable hair, and Colgate Dental Cream to clean your breath while you clean your teeth and stop tooth decay.
The Beauty Wise get bath-sized Palmolive soap for beauty care all over. For your tub or shower, enjoy the glorious beauty lather that millions of women have found so wonderful in bringing lovelier complexion in just 14 days. Simply buy the long-lasting bath-sized Palmolive. Use it for your Palmolive soap facials. Enjoy its oceans of creamy, beautifying lather. Men love it too. Let the whole family enjoy bath-sized Palmolive soap today.
Be with us again next week at the same time for another comedy episode of Our Miss Brooks.
Congratulations to the cast of Our Miss Brooks. Congratulations. Once again, this illustrious troupe of players. So cast, please stand when I call your name. Proudly stand. So first, down there, Rosie, Sherilyn, Juan, Greg, Louise, Clyde, Louisa, there's Louise and Louisa. Eldon, John, and Christine. Hey. And let us congratulate our sound effect crew, the team of Pete and Mike. And speaking of Mike, Mr. Mike Steele, he is the visionary. He is the heartbeat of the Cedarfield Radio Players. Many of you may not know that Mr. Mike Steele chooses the scripts, He casts the show and he communicates with all of the members. And I'm just the wind under his wings.
Wind under sail.
The Cedarfield Radio Players have put on 4 shows in the last year, 1 show every 3 months. What an amazing, amazing troupe this is. And so we begin again. We begin another script next month in April. We meet the 3rd Monday of April, the third Wednesday of April, the 3rd Wednesday of May, and the 3rd Wednesday of June. We have our show. I cordially invite you to consider participating in the Cedarfield Radio Players. Please talk to me or to Mike or any of the cast and let us know your interest. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here. Thank you for being such a great audience. Come on up and greet the actors, and you might even get an autograph. And we'll see you next time.